Hey yo, what up? It's your boy. We did it, guys. We freaking did it. I think the Japanese government has finally listened to us, and I'm so happy. Because if you've been on social media, if you've been keeping up to current affairs, and you've been on this channel for the past week or so, then you would know that there has been a lot of talks right now of Japan and the Japanese government just being really persistent in not letting foreigners into the country. And there are a number of reasons why that may be the case, but turns out that might all change. I went onto Twitter this morning and I saw this article right here from NHK World Japan, a very trusted source, mind you, and it basically says Japan moving to allow individual tourists in again. I can't believe it. I can't believe it's actually happening, guys. I'm so happy right now. If you watch these two videos right here, both of them link in the description below, then you would know just how frustrating it's been for the longest time that Japan, although they have said many times that they are easing coronavirus restrictions, that they were very adamant when looking into the fine print. But I don't know, man. Seeing this title right here just goes to show me that, you know what, maybe they have finally caved in. Maybe Japan has finally stopped sidestepping the obvious solution to a very obvious problem and just gone, hey, let's do that thing we should have done many months ago. And I'm so goddamn happy. You know what, before we jump into it, let me tell you about the sponsor for this video. Take it away, Joey.
Yo, what up? It's your boy. Before this video begins, let me tell you about the sponsor for this video, Boxu. Boxu is a monthly subscription box full of authentic Japanese snacks that is delivered straight to your door. And each month, Boxu has its own theme of snacks that change every month. And with this month, the month of August, it is blazing hot right now in Japan. And that's time for the Matsuri Nights box. Matsuri meaning festival in Japan, because during the month of August, we have a lot of summer festivals. You've seen your anime before, you know how it goes. And with the summertime festival season comes a lot of summertime themed snacks that revolve around Matsuri. For example, we have this classic ningyo-yaki right here, which is a little sweet Japanese pancake with some filling in it. Full of custard. I used to love these as a kid, and this really screams festival. And a new recent discovery of mine, which I've very quickly fallen in love with, is these benishoga ten chips. Benishoga is the red ginger that you'd see in a lot of like sushi places. You can get all of these and a whole lot more with Boxu. So if that's something that interests you, then make sure to go down to the link in the description below and use my coupon code Joey15 to get $15 off your Boxu order.
Thanks, Joey. And now another thing I would also like to let you guys know is that you've been debated. No, not about the sponsor. That's a legitimate thing that I definitely recommend that you guys go check out. But basically, this entire article right here, we've all been debated. Because no, Japan is still not letting foreigners in. Again, as I've mentioned in previous videos, with stuff like this, with any kind of current affairs stuff, especially government, political stuff that comes out of Japan, there is always a catch. You always have to read the fine print, and so that's what we're going to be doing today. So let's read this article together, shall we? The Japanese government is moving to start accepting overseas tourists who do not want to take guided tours in a bid to address a decline in the numbers of foreign travelers visiting Japan. I mean, yes, of course, obviously, I've been preaching about it for many months now, and there's been a lot of outcry on Twitter and just publicly everywhere about, hey, how come I'm not allowed in Japan yet? How is that possible? How is the economy surviving right now without us being there to revive the economy? The country reopened to foreign holidaymakers in June with the easing of anti-coronavirus border controls, but all tourists are still required to join guided tours and obtain a visa. And yes, that was definitely the fine print right there. They used the term easing of anti-coronavirus border controls, but no, there wasn't any easing. It was just going from 0 to 0.1. No one wants to come to Japan on a fucking guided tour. No one wants to do that. The only people who do that are Chinese tourists, and Chinese tourists can't even travel outside of China right now because of Chinese regulations. So, AKA, no one wants to go on these guided tours. No one gives a shit about these. The tourists also have to comply with anti-infection measures, such as wearing masks set under guidelines by the Japanese government. Absolutely nothing wrong with that, okay? Look, I mean, yes, wearing masks, especially in the summer right now, where it's excruciatingly hot, and it's gotten to the point where I don't even want to be outside, mask or no mask. Yeah, it sucks to wear a mask, but if that makes the people around me feel safer, and if at the end of the day, it's going to stop me from getting the coronavirus a second time or even the first time, then hey, I'll wear a mask. That I think that is a sacrifice that foreigners are willing to accept, because at the end of the day, even if they have to wear a mask everywhere, they're still in Japan, baby. They still get to enjoy and experience the country, and they're still allowed to, roam free, be a tourist. The government's decision to further ease anti-coronavirus border controls came as the number of foreign tourists entering Japan stood at about 7,900 in July, well below pre-pandemic levels. This number is not surprising because no one, again, wants to go on these guided tours. People just want to come to Japan on their own accord, with their own schedule, and just experience the culture free-willingly. Many in the tourism industry insist the current restrictions are discouraging Western tourists from coming to Japan, as they prefer an individual style of traveling. I have been preaching this for so many weeks, and it's so obvious. How do you not understand this, Japan? So you're probably wondering then, at this point in the article, why have you named an article Japan is moving to allow individual tourists? What is the brand new genius idea that the Japanese government has worked around to hopefully resolve this situation? The Japanese government has decided to allow tourists to enter the country without joining a guided tour if their visit has been arranged through a travel agency. Who the fuck uses a travel agency? Okay, to be fair, that's not exactly a fair statement. I know a lot of people use travel agencies, okay? But if you are one of those people, right, who are sitting there in front of your screen right now watching this video, and you are thinking to yourself, once the country opens up and once this whole guided tour BS ends with Japan and I'm just able to come to Japan on my own accord, then the first thing you're probably going to be thinking of is, all right, well, I better start looking at flights. I better start looking at hotels. I better start researching what I want to do. I very highly doubt, unless you are of a certain demographic, that your first thing that you would think of once the anti-coronavirus border controls actually ease in Japan is, oh, I should probably call up my travel agency. I get it. Travel agencies exist for a reason. But here is the other big catch. The agencies that arrange tours are expected to manage their clients' schedules. Tourists will also be asked to follow guidelines if cases of infection are confirmed. And here's the biggest kicker, the second to last paragraph here. But the government will continue to deny entry to individual travelers who don't make arrangements through travel agencies. So essentially, nothing has changed. Now you are going from a guided tour of multiple people to a guided tour of an individual. That's kind of the equivalent to if I was a prison guard and instead of me letting you out onto the field for 1 hour a day to feel the sunlight, I let you out for 3 hours a day and you get to play with the basketball. It's not quite, the 100% freedom that the rest of the world is allowing for tourists. It just baffles me that Japan is it's so close, just so fucking minusculely close to actually answering correctly, and they have somehow again managed to sidestep the obvious choice. There is no way that Japan is doing this unknowingly. They have to be consciously trolling with the rest of the world at this point. Because here's the thing, I totally get why people use travel agencies, okay? Especially if it's a country that you've never been to, or perhaps you're one of those individuals who is not quite used to traveling overseas and need a little bit of guidance, need a little bit of help, right? That's what travel agencies are for. I understand the reason why travel agencies exist, but me personally speaking, there are very few instances where travel agencies are required for a country like Japan, because I think the general consensus with places like Japan is that the best way to experience the country is just going into it blind, essentially, because the country is safe enough, the country is welcome enough, the country is nice enough to foreigners and foreign tourism that you don't really need to be wary of a lot of places, if that makes sense. But in saying that, I do definitely think that people will start to utilize this form up until now, because let's be real, this is the best that foreigners have at the moment, and it says here the new measure is expected to go into effect in September, so hopefully if I get this out in time, from next month, you have all the freedom in the world to contact your local travel agency to be like, yo, let me fucking into the country. But realistically speaking, and this is from my experience, the only industry that is really going to benefit from this new change is the ski resort industry. Because skiing, if you guys don't know, is a massive, massive tourist draw for Japan during the winter months, right? We have places like Niseko up in Hokkaido, which I actually went earlier this year and did a vlog of. If you're interested in that, click the card up there. As well as other notable ski resorts like Hakuba, Myoko, Karuizawa, etc. And a lot of those places, a lot of the tourists that frequent those kinds of ski resorts usually go through a travel agency. I know this because my own mother works for such a company in Australia, where they use Australian tourists who want to go skiing in Japan, and that is the main demographic of their company, and that is the main demographic. Australians is the main demographic of a lot of the ski resorts. Like, you go to some of these ski resorts in like the middle of the season, in like, you know, mid-January, and a lot of them are filled with Australians, weirdly enough. And I guarantee that the majority of those people are going through agencies, travel agencies. So I definitely think that side of things is going to benefit super, super hard. So if you work in agencies like that, you are going to be banking hard off of this stuff. But I guarantee, and this is just a prediction, okay? This is just a prediction. This is not advice, so don't take this as advice. If I, hypothetically, was an owner of one of these like travel agencies, and if I wanted to really bank on this opportunity, I would just like kind of lie and basically say to my customers, yo, if you come with us, then you know, on paper we will track you down, we will follow you every step of the way, but we're not actually going to, because let's be real, it's a waste of your time, it's a waste of our time and resources. As long as you're not going around doing some shady shit, yeah, we don't really give a fuck, because you're already in the country anyway, so it's not really our fault. Granted, that's not exactly like a legal thing to do, but you know, let's be real, there's probably going to be some travel agencies who will do that, because they're probably just so incredibly thirsty for money right now, because no one is going through travel agencies to Japan, because up until this point, none of those travel agencies worked. In a weird way, Japan has kind of listened, and I guess in a way, finally caved in, and has realized just how severe of an issue their economy is right now, where it's almost impossible to sidestep the proper solution, but at the same time, they have somehow managed to sidestep the obvious solution, and it just fucking baffles me. So yeah, for all of you who were wondering, yo, Joey, do you have any clue as to when I'll actually be able to come to Japan and be a regular tourist like the good old pre-pandemic days? Hey man, if you don't mind going through a travel agency, here's your answer. But again, who knows how quickly Japan is going to cut the rope on this, because right now, Japan is at a very sensitive state where, again, we have had the highest cases of corona, like ever since the pandemic started. Not to mention, again, you know, the Japanese government is being very, very wary of this, because I think another thing that they're trying to sidestep is basically them admitting that the reason why we haven't opened up the borders yet is because the majority of our voting population is stereotypically xenophobic, and is kind of just sitting there going, fuck, we don't need the fucking foreigners to come here to recover our economy. Yo, we can do that ourselves. Japan pride, bro. We did it multiple times. We recovered after 2 of the world wars. We got this. Pandemic? Bitch, please. But I think those people also forget that Japan has kind of been fucked ever since the Olympics went ahead, and that whole shenanigans happened. So yeah, if we need any outside help, it's now. But yeah, that was just my 2 cents. I didn't want to go too far into it, because obviously there's a lot of still unknown areas about it. I just thought I would let you guys know in case you missed this article and you missed anyone talking about it on Twitter. So there you go. For FYI, from next month, hopefully you'll finally be able to come in and actually experience Japan. But let me know your thoughts and opinions about this down in the comments below. And hey, if you enjoyed this video, make sure to smack my face right here. So subscribe to the channel. Let's keep making that big channel number go big. Over here next to my head, there's a couple more videos you can check out as well if you enjoyed this one. And links to all my socials, Twitter, Instagram, down in the description below. So peep those out as well. Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.